Okay, so many of you have asked for this. Here is an update on my parents' mortgage. When I first started helping my parents with their finances, it was around fall of 2019, and at that point their mortgage was around $143,000. And it wasn't until probably this past fall of 2023 where I also started getting more serious about helping them pay down their mortgage. At this point, they had already paid off all of their credit card debt, consumer debt, bought out their own car. They even helped me with my student loans. So as a way to repay them for that, I definitely wanted to help them pay down that mortgage because it's really important for them to have the mortgage paid off, especially because my dad is already retired. My mom is going to retire in a few years, so it's really vital to their livelihood to have a paid off house. They don't have millions of dollars in retirement, so I would rather not have them worry about a mortgage once they actually do fully retire, and it'll just be a nice release of pressure once it's over. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that and also go through how we ended up getting to the point that we're at now and what you can do if you're ever in a situation like this. So currently my parents have $24,969.88 left on their mortgage. That number has substantially decreased from the beginning of the year where it was around $67,000. That is because we have been throwing a lot of money at the mortgage this past year, but also because they came into this windfall of money kind of thing through a class action settlement. So that definitely helped boost the process a bit, and hopefully we'll be done paying the mortgage by early next year. All right, so this is basically how we actually made the plan to pay down the mortgage. I had introduced this financial freedom spreadsheet a couple years ago when I first started my channel, and honestly, this is the spreadsheet that I use for any major financial decision. I have been using it for years now. It is available in the description box below if you're interested, but this spreadsheet basically helps me gather all the information on any loans I used to have, any other financial accounts like checking accounts, savings accounts, retirement accounts, any other investment accounts, and any future goals like saving for travel, saving for a down payment. So I was able to put all of those categories for my own financial journey, and then I did the same thing for my parents. So they have their own mortgage payoff category in their version of the spreadsheet. So here's my parents' mortgage section of their financial freedom strategy spreadsheet. I've just started this off around 2019. I did backtrack and fill in the values for previous years, but this is really the year where I started paying more attention to their mortgage and helping them figure out their financial situation. From the beginning of this year, there were $146,000 left on the mortgage. Then I started looking at their finances, but we didn't really make any extra payments to the mortgage at that point. It was still the minimum mortgage payment. So as you can see, for the whole of 2019, my parents threw $18,000 at the mortgage. $4,000 of that went to the principal. This is honestly so outrageous to me, and it's definitely not uncommon. When you buy a house, you have to make sure that you run the numbers, and in this case, my parents were able to afford it with an FHA loan, a relatively low down payment, and the house wasn't even that expensive. It was like $170,000 to begin with. So if you are currently in the market to buy a house and you're looking at $400,000, $600,000 houses, and you have not run the numbers, please do so, because chances are in the first few years of home ownership, you are going to be spending way more on property taxes, interest, insurance, than you are on your actual principal. So yes, a mortgage or a house is an asset, but it's not really gonna be a huge asset if you're not actually sending most of your money towards your principal. So just keep that in mind. So as the years progressed, they paid down a bunch of their debt. We made some extra payments here and there. In this case, you see July 2020, we sent a little bit extra towards the mortgage in that month, but still nothing significant. They still sent over $18,000 at the mortgage, but only $4,000 of that went to principal. You keep going through the years. At this point, we've sent $21,000, $8,000 went to the principal. And then in 2022, things got a little bit more serious and they started sending a lot more extra, almost every month. near the later portion of the year. And so they sent $42,000 towards the mortgage. $27,000 of that actually went to the principal, so that's amazing. Obviously, sending more towards your principal will also decrease the amount of interest that you owe in a given year, so that definitely paid off. I'm really glad that this started happening, you know, soon after they paid off their debt and then helped me pay off my student loans, which were astronomical as well. So I'm glad that they were then able to focus on their own mortgage. Now here's 2023. So in this year, they sent $45,000 towards the mortgage. $34,000 of it was paid towards the principal, and now we're in 2024. But yeah, they started with $67,999.99 on their mortgage. Now we are at $24,969.88. So it's a huge difference. I mentioned that they came into a little bit of money during this past year, so that's why April has like $25,000 of total payment. It definitely helped move things quickly. So I do have kind of predictions for future months and future payments, but these aren't set in stone, so I don't 100% rely on them. But what I love about the spreadsheet is that I can mess with any number, and basically that will tell me what the consequence of that decision will be in the future, whether it's next year or the next couple years. I basically add on more rows, you know, every time there's a new year, and that kind of helps me make more predictions about my financial decisions, which is super helpful. So according to this, they won't be done paying the mortgage completely until early next year. You can see there's still like about $6,000 left to pay by the end of the year, which is kind of annoying. I would love to pay it off this year, but we'll see what happens. And you can also see that I've included my contributions towards the mortgage as well as my parents. This month, I'm actually not sending any money towards the mortgage because I'm really hoping to save up for like a birthday present to myself this month. I've actually sent $9,300 so far towards the mortgage. At this point in the year, I should have been around $6,300 in payments to the mortgage, but I'm a bit ahead, so I'm okay with not sending money this month and perhaps spoiling myself a little bit. But even without that, they're still on track to pay off $62,000 this year, which is just completely insane to me. But I'm so happy that they're at this point. I'm so happy that they're almost done and they're able to basically, you know, do home renovations if they want to. Save up for vacation, save up a little bit more to have a cushion and just emergency savings. So this is just great. And I'm so happy that you guys are asking about them. I'll definitely keep you updated with, you know, future statuses of the mortgage, especially when they do pay off their house. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now, you don't actually need this detailed spreadsheet to figure out if you can afford a house or not, or figure out when you're gonna pay off your mortgage. There are many calculators online that show you an estimate of when you'll be done paying off your mortgage, and you can just input a few numbers and you'll get a really good idea of what costs are associated with it and when you'll actually be able to pay it off. So if you just look up mortgage amortization calculator, you'll find something a little bit like this. You know, this is on calculator.net. I'll put the link in the description box below. For example, if you buy a house that's $400,000 and put $100,000 of a down payment, and you plan to get a mortgage, your mortgage will be about $300,000. I would say most Americans will probably get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. So let me change that to 30 years and 0 months. The interest rate at this point is going to be around 6%, unfortunately. If you do calculate that without any extra payments, your monthly payment would be about $1,800 to cover principal and interest for each month throughout the entire term of the mortgage. A lot of people will run a calculator like this and not consider other outstanding costs like closing costs, insurance, property taxes, which are definitely gonna affect you when you're first purchasing the home and then also throughout the term of the mortgage, because you're paying for property taxes every single month, you're paying for insurance every month, and if you happen to get a loan without a 20% down payment, you will be paying private mortgage insurance. So that will definitely start eating up at your mortgage payment as well. It's typically smaller than the other two categories of costs, but it's still something that is not going to principal. So it's really important to keep that in mind. And at least these calculators just give you a good idea of, you know, how much is going towards your mortgage payment, how much is going towards principal or interest. And it actually gives you a full amortization schedule. So you can actually see the numbers very clearly here. And this doesn't actually take into account extra payments yet, but you can put that into this box here. Like if you make an extra $100 payment and you calculate it, you'll pay off your mortgage in 26 years and 1 month versus the 30 years. So the $100 definitely makes a big difference. And that's the kind of simulation that I like to do in my spreadsheet because I like to see how every number changes whenever I make a tiny little change. So if you are interested in the spreadsheet, please feel free to download it. You can just download your own copy and customize it as you wish. All right, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know if you are currently paying down a mortgage in the comments below and whether or not you're trying to pay it off early.